Greetings everyone, this is episode 72 and in this one I'll be taking a look at detailing the M230 chain gun on Takom's 35 scale Apache. In the previous videos in the series we completed the interior and it's now time to start looking at the exterior detail. One of the most recognizable features of the Apache is of course the 30mm chain gun below the cockpit. And this is also famous for the fact that it's of course slave to the helmets of the air crew. So the chain gun points where the pilot is looking, and at the time this was absolutely astonishing technology. And in this video I'll be showing you how I detailed the ones in this kit. Guys, as you know by now, this build is sponsored by Supernova Studio, my favorite hobby shop here in South Africa. If you stick around for the end of this video, I'll be supplying you with a promo code, and you can purchase this gorgeous kit from Takom at a substantial discount, so do stick around for that. So guys, we are at step 7 in the instructions, and this deals with the assembly of the M230 chain gun. Now the parts for this are beautifully detailed. You can see there's the barrel, the center of the gun, and the first step of course is to remove all the necessary parts from the sprue. Make sure you work over a tray so you don't lose anything, and we'll be assembling these parts in the coming steps. Now this is literally the only little piece of flash I could find in this kit. I just had to film it. That's how easy it is to remove that. This kit has very little flash. Now unfortunately it does have a bent barrel, and guys, this is nothing new in scale modeling. I frequently get this with thin styrene rod parts, also sometimes in resin, and the fix for this is quite simple. I just use a piece of rod styrene of similar length. Now replacing this was easy. Just cut away that bent section in the middle, the barrel itself, and replace that with a little piece of rod styrene. Make sure that you don't lose anything. That's why I always say work over a tray. Next I measured a piece of rod styrene with the same length as the piece of barrel that we just cut away. Sand the edges completely flat, similar to what I have there, and you're good to go again. Also remember to sand the styrene parts flat. A small bead of gel type super glue will do the trick, and once we have this in place, it's a simple matter of just joining the rod styrene to the existing kit parts, similar to what I'm doing on your screen. Guys, an alternative to this method that I'm following on your screen right now is just to heat the existing barrel and bend it in shape. However, I was feeling a bit lazy, or maybe feeling a bit ambitious, and I prefer to go the route of just replacing the bent barrel with a piece of rod styrene. There we go, that's the result. Next up is this vinyl flexible ammo chute, and guys, this is a fantastic feature to me. I really wish more companies would do this in their kits. It makes it so much easier to shape and bend things. Assembling this is a breeze. Everything is tabbed. It fits beautifully into the existing styrene parts, and really the fit on this whole assembly is faultless. I can't find anything here to complain about. Having all the parts cleaned and sanded, it's now time to assemble this, and I used Tamiya extra thin just to glue everything together. In order to have the ammo chute retain that distinctive shape that I need, I use some wire, and because this is soft vinyl, it was really easy to just press that piece of wire into the vinyl itself and bend it to the required shape. Guys, so there's the parts. These are all done and ready, and they're now ready for paint, and that's the next step. One of the tips I can give you to paint small parts is to use double-sided tape and some ice cream sticks or anything else that you can stick the tape to. Now guys, it took me quite a while to find the correct type of double-sided tape. The really cheap and nasty ones do leave some sticky residue on the parts, and the heavy duty stuff that you use to glue mirrors to your walls, of course, will not let go of the styrene parts. But fortunately, I found this type. It's stocked by my sponsor Supernova Studio, and I can highly recommend this. And there we go, that's been placed on the ice cream stick, and I can now just peel away the paper backing, and this is ready to accept the kit parts that I want to paint. They're just placed on the sticky side of that tape. You can see what I'm doing there on the screen, and this will give us a firm hold on those small parts, and I can easily apply primer to all those parts at the same time. A very quick and easy way of doing this. The primer that I'm using is from Mr. Hobby. This is becoming one of my favorite primers, and this is now applied to all these parts in a very smooth and even coat. The color that I'll be using on this kit is, of course, the US Army Hilo Drab color from AK Generation 3. Now guys, for a long time this paint was out of stock in South Africa, but fortunately Supernova Studio now has this back in stock, and do get yours while stocks last. If you are building any other US Army helicopter like the Chinook or the Huey, you will also need this color, so take this opportunity and stock up on this color. This is now applied to all the frame parts for the gun. That's what I'm doing on your screen right there, using my Iwate clips. So there is the gun itself and the ammo chute, and it's been primed with Mr. Hobby primer. The next step is to apply gunmetal. Now this is from Alclad, and I really like these paints for any sort of metallic work that needs to be done. And I'm now applying this to the gun itself with my airbrush. And really, this is a technique that you can use for any other sort of firearm in your hobby work, rifles, or anything like that. The same technique will apply. Now, in reference pictures, you'll notice these rods, and they need to be a lighter color. And there, they've been masked, and they are ready to take some paint. The paint color that I'll be using is, of course, Alclad Steel. And this will also be spray painted onto those two protruding rods. This of course will later be part of the entire gun assembly for the M230 chain gun. So there we go, that's the result. It looks really nice in contrast to the US Army Hilo Drab, and I can put this part aside. Now the gunmetal color has had time to dry, but at this stage it's a bit too shiny to my liking. So what I did in this case was to apply some micro flat from micro scale, just to get it a bit more matte, a bit more dull. After having done that, it's time for pigments, and in this case I chose two pigments, one being gunmetal and the other one polished metal. Now there's an alternative as well, and this is graphite powder. Now if you don't have graphite powder, you can also get your graphite from here. This is an ordinary pencil, and if you shave some of this graphite away, you can also use that. You also need a little mixing tray, as well as these cotton buds, and that's now our next step. Guys, now pigment goes everywhere, so I always make sure to work over a paper towel or piece of paper, something that won't allow the pigment to stain my cutting bag, my workspace. Now pigment will only work if you really polish it into the kit part itself. You can see that I'm using the cotton bud and gently polishing that pigment onto the gun itself. So really work it in there. You can even use your fingers, and over the existing gunmetal color, the graphite powder or gunmetal pigment will really give you a very realistic looking metal shine, similar to what you see in reference pictures. There we go, loving that result. Now usually the ammo chute is a bit lighter in color, and for this I'm going to use polished metal pigment. You only need a little bit. This is placed in the mixing tray, and I now follow the same procedure to mix in the polished metal pigment onto that ammo chute. And you can see they're getting a very nice result, polishing the pigment into that ammo chute. When I'm done, the excess pigment can go back into the bottle for the next time's use. Guys, so there's the result. The pigment has been applied as well as the base color. And all I'm lacking at this stage is a little bit of definition. And this I'm going to do with black wash from Ammo Mix. This, of course, is an enamel product, which means it can be mixed or thinned with odorless thinner of your choice. Now, I really made a very thin wash mixture using lots of odorless thinner. And this is now applied to all the recessed detail on that ammo chute as well as the gun itself, using a little bit of extra odorless thinner there and allowing gravity to do the work. I then placed the gun in front of the fan just to accelerate drying a little bit. And of course, the way this works, the thinner will evaporate, leaving only the pigment in place in all the recessed detail on that kit part. And that's the result. Certainly happy with this. And guys, this technique you can apply to any other rifle, any other firearm, and I've used this with great effect. So yeah, I'm just reapplying some of the pigment just to the edges of the ammo chute as well as the chain gun itself. And guys, there you can see the result. Really loving this. And again, this is a technique that you can apply to any other firearm, any rifle with great effect. So next up is this flash hider that's very prominent on the chain gun. You can see it's a lighter color, and in this case, you can see there it's masked off. I used aluminium from Alclad. Now don't worry, I don't think the real one is aluminium. It might be steel, but I really need the lighter color, and this is why I chose aluminium for the flash hider. Again, I'm going to use black wash, and this is now applied on the flash hider itself just to bring out all that really nice detail on that part. And this is almost one of my favorite parts of the gun itself, is the flash hider. So the next step is just to start assembling all the loose bits and pieces. That's what I'm doing on your screen right there, using my extra thin from Tamiya just to glue all that stuff together. Guys, and that's it. That's the basic colors done on the chain gun. And the next step is just to add some further detailing, also some scratch building. Now, on reference pictures, you'll notice this coil spring at the back, and you can see there's some wiring in there as well. And this fits over here on the chain gun. Now, kit parts are provided. This looks a little bit like the oxygen hose for a fighter pilot, and I think we can improve on this. So I'm going to use 1mm black spring from AK, also available from Supernova Studio. And this is going to be ideal to scratch build the appropriate part. Just stretch it out so we can get that coil spring look that we're after. And there's also some wiring running inside this thing. So that's the next thing I'll be adding. Inserting a little piece of silver wire into the spring itself. And there we go. Very easily done. And you can see there the kit part and the one we scratch built. I certainly like mine a lot better. The next step is to glue this in place, and for this I used a small bead of gel type super glue and then just carefully position that scratch built part into the chain gun, guys. And there we go. I'm certainly loving the result with this small little feature that we added. Next up are these braided hoses, these steel hoses. And they are, of course, missing from the kit itself, so those will have to be scratch built as well. I'm going to use this 0.5mm cable from Tamiya. There we go, that little piece of plastic there. And this will be spray painted with steel. And once this is painted, I can just cut this in half. We'll need two of those hoses. You can see, there we go. Those will be placed together. And if you look at the reference picture again, you'll notice that there are some cable ties, and that's something I'll be making with 1mm Tamiya masking tape. Very simple to do this. Just wrap a little piece around those two braided hoses that we've just scratch built, and of course the next step will be just to paint them black, carefully using some NATO black there and a very fine brush. and just painting the masking tape that we wrapped around those two wires. This is now glued in place. Very delicate operation, but eventually I got there. The next step is just to paint the existing detail on the outside of that assembly. You can see there's some wiring there. I'm also adding some yellow cable ties, similar to what I'm seeing in my reference picture. All these are hand painted. Guys, and there we go. At this point, I decided just to coat this with microscale satin, and this will be required for the next steps. Now, on reference pictures, you'll notice this information placard on the side of that mount, and fortunately, I've just the right decal from the spares box, and this will be placed right there where I'm showing you on the screen. I'm using the normal procedure of applying decals, using microset and microsol just to make sure that's properly fitted to the side of that mount. There we go. And yes, another nice detail added. Now, while I have the satin varnish on that gun, I'm going to add some black wash, again diluted with odorless thinner, and this is just to add a pin wash to some of the detail on the chain gun. The next step is some dry brushing, and I chose light gray just to fit the US Army Helo drab. And really, guys, this has to be applied very sparingly just to bring out some of the protruding detail. I carefully dry brushed this onto some of the nuts and bolts and some of the protruding detail just to add that little touch, that little bit of contrast to bring out those detail parts on the gun itself. There we go. This is the final result, and I'm certainly loving that. All the scratch pull detail, that little decal that we added, it really makes a world of difference. And this will look beautiful hanging below the cockpit of the Apache. Takom really did a great job of recreating the M230 chain gun that is so familiar on the Apache gunship. Now, this is going to fit below the cockpit, of course. The fit is very good, and there you go, another very nice detail piece on this gorgeous 35 scale kit from Takom. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the promo code LONGBOW2601 will get you a 15% discount on this kit if you are in South Africa. And guys, this is really one of those kits that you have to have in your stash. It's nearly Christmas time, and this will make the ideal gift. Any scale modeler would love to find this waiting for them under the Christmas tree. So make use of this opportunity to get this kit. Guys, that's it for video 72. Thank you for following along. Do join me on Instagram. I do frequent updates on all my builds there, and you won't miss a single thing. Thank you for watching, and hoping to see everyone in the next video coming soon.